Well, it was an emotional day in court in Albuquerque yesterday, and it's probably going to be another one today.
We are talking about Kenneth Ellis's civil trial. A jury will decide how much the city owes his family after a police officer shot and killed him 3 years ago. Our News 13's David Romero is live in downtown Albuquerque in front of the courthouse, where the trial will start up again in just a few hours. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Elizabeth. Well, that's right. The testimony is expected to continue here in court behind me later on this morning. Now, Officer Lampiris Tremba, the Albuquerque policeman who fired the shot which killed Ellis, is expected to testify in court later today. Ellis was shot outside a convenience store in northeast Albuquerque back in 2010 by Officer Tremba. Ellis was an Iraq War vet suffering from PTSD. Now, he was outside the store with a gun by his head when he was confronted by police. Now, that's what his lawyer is pointing out in court, that he only wanted to hurt himself and did not pose a threat to the other officers or the safety of others in the area. The family also claims that crisis negotiators were about to start working with Ellis when Lampiris shot his gun. Meanwhile, the officer who pulled Ellis over said he was agitated and walking back and forth with the gun to his head. They said Ellis also admitted to being on drugs at the time. Now, the first time that this case was in court for the criminal side of everything, the judge ruled that the shooting violated Ellis's constitutional rights. Now it's going to be up to this jury to decide how much, and if and how much rather, the city might have to pay Ellis's family. Elizabeth, back to you.
Okay, David, thank you. We will be in court throughout the day and bring you the latest in our later newscasts.
The other big story this morning is the weather, as we've been talking about. It sounds like Mother Nature's playing tricks on us a little bit, John. We get it nice for a while, warm, and now we're going back to winter.
Well, you know how this time of the year is. You know, we have those couple of nice days, and then we're right back to winter time, and then spring's around the corner once again. So that's what we're going to be dealing with over the weekend. Here's our next winter storm. It's over the California coast, and that's going to be moving into our direction. You can see quite a bit of shower activity already in Arizona and Southern California, and that's going to be pushing into our neck of the woods, at least into the afternoon hours. Winter weather advisories for the western part of the state, into the Continental Divide, and into portions of the northern mountains. We also have winter storm warnings in effect for the San Juans of Colorado and into the northern mountains of New Mexico, west-facing slopes mainly of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. Out ahead of the storm, we are looking at some pretty gusty winds. Wind advisories from the northeastern part of the state through central sections and into the southwest, where gusts will be up to around 50 miles per hour. Here's where you can expect with the winds. Mainly the higher winds across the southwest through the afternoon, eventually moving into the eastern part of the state throughout the overnight and into the morning. And that's what we're going to deal with over the next 24 hours, in addition to the precip that will be moving in later on today. More details coming up on what you can expect day by day in just a little bit.
Well, tomorrow is another chance for you to turn in guns and get hundreds of dollars of gift cards. Santa Fe's Police Department is having one of these gun buybacks from 9 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. The facilities maintenance building, it's on Siringo Road. Just bring in your guns and you'll get Visa gift cards. No questions asked.
Law enforcement is trying to figure out who was sending threatening messages over handheld radios at a school in Edgewood yesterday. The school had just ended at Route 66 Elementary when staff members heard someone say they had a gun. The school was put on lockdown. Kids who were there for basketball practice were moved to a safe place. State police and Bernalillo County Sheriff deputies swept the school, but nothing was found. Investigators believe it may have been nothing more than a sick prank. In just a little while, there will be an emergency drill at 2 schools in Farmington. The drills are set at Hermosa Middle School and Northeast Elementary. It'll be between 8:30 and noon this morning. Drivers can expect roadblocks in the area surrounding the school. You will also see a lot of police and firefighters in the area as well, but do not be alarmed. It is just a drill.
A substitute teacher will not be in class in Rio Rancho today. Instead, he is suspended, accused of being too rough with a female student. The girl's father says a teacher at Rio Rancho Middle School hit her on the back of the head with a pen so hard it made her cry. And the dad says this is the same class where the regular teacher was arrested earlier this year after police say he was abusing students. Rio Rancho School District is investigating. It does confirm that the substitute is on paid leave right now, but will not say what class he was in. And here's one that'll get you talking this morning, and I tell you, not in a good way. A former middle school basketball coach arrested, accused of having child porn, is now also accused of illegally giving students physicals. Investigators say this man, Eric Kahn, performed the physical exams on athletes at Picacho Middle School in Las Cruces sometime before the 2007 basketball season. That has now led to new charges of molesting minors and practicing medicine without a license. He was originally arrested in May on the child porn charges.
8 days left in the legislative session, 8 bills on the governor's desk, nothing really of substance. And now the House and Senate Democrats are turning on each other. During a Senate committee hearing Thursday, Senate Majority Leader Michael Sanchez stormed into the room, lashing out at House Majority Whip Mo Maestas. Sanchez accused the House of stalling on hearing Senate bills because the Senate isn't hearing House bills. So far, the Senate has passed 1 House bill. The House has passed 7 Senate bills. Now, Speaker Ken Martinez vows to step in. The FAA has put 3 New Mexico airports on notice that unless they prove the control towers are vital, the airports will lose federal money for them. The Santa Fe, Hobbs, and Double Eagle airports are all on the list as the government tries to deal with the massive automatic spending cuts. Cities can choose to fund towers themselves. FAA officials say a final decision on which towers will lose their funding will be made next week.
60,000 federal workers protecting our borders are now on notice. They'll be furloughed starting next month, all because of the federal budget cuts. And CNN says that'll make it take longer for people to go through these border crossings. Border Patrol must cut about $754 million by the end of September. A plan to save the pensions of thousands of current and retired public workers here in New Mexico is now on the way to the State House. The Senate passed it yesterday. It's supposed to help PARA deal with its $6.2 billion shortfall. With the plan, the state would pay almost 0.5% more into employees' retirement accounts, while current workers would chip in 1.5% more. The bill would also reduce the cost of living increases. And one of my favorite stories of the day, a big furry celebrity is showing his support for a bill up in Santa Fe in the Roundhouse. The Isotopes mascot Orbit here. He was at the Roundhouse yesterday. They welcomed the guy in to support a bill that would allow the MVD to issue special Isotopes license plates. I don't think they gave him the mic there. Orbit was a guest on the House floor, and his testimony helped the proposal pass unanimously. The bill now heads to the state Senate, by the way. He's giving hugs to legislators, too, hanging out with state police. An Isotopes plate will cost you $35. Money raised will go to middle and high school sports. Now, didn't someone tell the furry guy that when you go to the legislature, you're supposed to dress up, put a tie on or something? That
no.
baseball attire is not appropriate there?
Leave Orbit alone. I mean, how can you resist? How can you say no to Orbit? Everybody loves Orbit.
Well,
Look at the
obviously
hugs that he gives.
the state house didn't. They passed the bill.
Yeah.
Again, it costs $35. Go get you a plate, and you'll help out kids that are athletes here in New
There you
Mexico.
go.
You can't beat that. We'll let you know if it ends up passing and goes to the governor.